Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Cram School, this time featuring Cloud. As well as being the leading force in the doubles meta, Cloud is a very common, very strong pick in today's meta, and if you don't know how to fight him, you probably won't get very far in bracket. Cloud can feel very oppressive to his high mobility and his super long combo streams, but every character can do something, and it's important to understand the opportunities to beat Cloud as they arise. Hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a much stronger understanding in the matchup. So I guess without further ado, let's just get started. So I'm going to make the assumption that you all have at least seen one melee set with Fox in it. The melee Fox matchup is a very good comparison in how to just deal with Cloud overall. Over the course of Cloud's development, I started to realize that melee players were abnormally good at dealing with him. I ended up asking one of them their thought process when playing against Cloud players, and he told me that he just treats Cloud just like melee Fox. Cloud's on-stage presence is very strong. With Limit, he becomes one of the most mobile and punishing characters in the entire game, but his main weakness is still the fact that he is very susceptible to being edge-guarded. Much like melee Fox, his options become severely limited once he gets cornered and pushed off stage, so that is the situation you need to try to force as often as possible. You obviously won't successfully land every edge guard, but that's not the important thing. What's important is that you force this interaction as frequently as possible. Any opportunity that arises to put Cloud into an edge guard situation, you must make sure to capitalize on it. The more opportunities you give Cloud to obtain and use his limit, the more likely you are to lose that game. If your normal game plan revolves around throw combos, like say Mario, Diddy, Luigi, Ike, Ness, or whatever, after about 30 or 40%, if the combo doesn't result in Cloud being pushed off stage or pressured into an offstage position, choose something else. Your focus should be to carry Cloud off the side of the stage and build damage by constantly putting him in the edge guarding situations, as opposed to just simply doing upwards of 100% and killing him off the top. If you are a heavy with a ding dong like Bowser or DK, you'll still want to focus on ding donging him, mainly because his limit makes the ding dong range larger, but remember to always look for edge guards when you can. If you have a disjoint, juggling Cloud by beating out his aerials may also be more advantageous than just flat out forcing edgeguard situations, but most of the time it's hard to challenge his falling aerials since his hitboxes are so large. Thus, edgeguarding is usually the safest, most optimal route to go about the matchup. Remember, if at any point you just don't know what to do next, compare what you're currently doing to the Cloud matchup to what you would do if that character was a melee Fox instead. I know I'm pressing this point really hard, but it's the most important thing to remember for playing this matchup properly. This part of the matchup is probably the second easiest part of it to tell whether or not someone knows what they're doing when playing against a Cloud. It can be very frustrating to play neutral against Cloud a lot of the time, mainly because of his ability to charge limit. It gives a lot of players the impression that they absolutely have to approach, and that means they often get impatient. One mistake against Cloud can lead into a ton of damage, and being able to charge up a kill move puts a ton of stress on players since if they mess up, they know that there's a ton of repercussions to possibly deal with. The first point I want to bring home is that playing neutral against Cloud does not mean you have to run at him whenever he charges limit to stop him. This is one of the things that me and Zero actually discussed when I came down to SoCal for the Mexico saga. We decided that if you can't stop Cloud from charging limit safely, then just let him get the limit bar and force him off stage and make him just burn the entire bar completely. All of Cloud's limit specials can be shielded, meaning grabbing him when he has a full bar of limit and throwing him off stage is a pretty safe bet. A lot of the time, players will opt to pressure Cloud as he sits on platforms when charging his limit, using aerials or whatever, but one read and he can get underneath you. And we all know, as anyone who has ever been hit by Cloud will tell you, that one hit can lead into a ton of damage. If you can't pressure him safely, just let him sit up there and charge his limit, and once he gets an entire bar, throw him off stage and make him burn the entire thing. The second point I want to drive home is the importance of spacing and patience. Cloud doesn't have many reliable options to approach a grounded opponent, other than simply falling aerials or grabbing him, which, since he doesn't really have true throw follow-ups most of the time, are both pretty unreliable. Cloud players will often use their movement to try and bait you into whiffing aerials or grabs, so that way they can reliably start chaining aerials together. The best strategy to combat Cloud neutral is to suffocate his spacing and corner him so that way he has to commit first. A lot of his aerials have to be used falling to the ground rather than rising from it, so you can deal with Cloud's aerials much like you would deal with Zero Suit's aerials, by spacing around them, power shielding them, or just simply intercepting them midair. Cloud can be very fast, especially if he has limit, and it can seem almost impossible to catch him a lot of the time. Corner him and cut off his escape options so that way you can knock him off stage. Stay spaced far enough where you can react to his burst options, and don't let him bait you into the air so he can get underneath you and get his combos started. Patience and being able to force out options out of Cloud by choking off the stage are going to be key to winning the neutral against him.
ついてないな。
This is probably the most obvious factor in determining whether or not someone knows the Cloud matchup. Can they edgeguard Cloud? Cloud is a massive onstage presence, and the best way to beat him is to take away what makes him strongest. Since the goal has already been established to be to push Cloud to the edge of the stage with your combos rather than focusing on dealing percent, the next step is closing out the stock from this position. Once you throw him off stage, it's important to make sure he can't just auto-snap the ledge with up B for free. If you can't throw him off the stage far enough to force a gimping situation, just try to cover his options jumping over you or air dodging through you, so that way he can't just simply jump back to the stage for free. Keep pressuring him off stage again and again until you get enough damage to where this is no longer an option. Once you knock him off far enough where jumping back on stage is no longer the choice, the next thing to cover is the auto snap option. It's Cloud's safest option for recovering by far, and if it's readily accessible, they will almost always opt to recover in this manner. The easiest thing to do is to just simply put a quick or long-lasting hitbox in that spot at the ledge, or just float in front of him, slightly below him, so that way if he continues to drift towards you, you'll just knock him off the stage further away anyway. This makes it so that he either has to choose to get hit or maneuver around you. Both of these things make it so insta-snapping the ledge is no longer an option and will set you up to actually gimp his recovery. After you remove the option of snapping the ledge, your next objective is to snipe his second jump. Position yourself so that you put Cloud in a 50-50 situation. Either he goes low, or he floats to the ledge, or fights his way back. If you can hit his second jump or force him to use his up B in a bad situation, the rest is pretty much easy. Since Cloud's up B won't snap the ledge, anything can be used to knock him away from the stage. If your character has a spike, you can also just simply spike him. Moreover, if Cloud is hit between the apex of his up B until he enters free fall and doesn't get put into the spinning animation, the stage spike will be untechable. This is another way to punish Cloud if you can't get him from the stage. Occasionally, they will recover above the stage with their up B and fall onto the ledge with the second part of it. If you have a disjoint, you can hit him out of this, and it will almost always put him in a position to be edge guarded. Without one, it's pretty hard to mess with it, but if you have a quick out of shield option, generally less than frame 3 or 4, you can power shield it on the way down and hit Cloud before he grabs the ledge. To be honest, it's pretty difficult, and it takes a bit of practice to learn the timing and to determine what moves your character has that'll work, but it can mean a stock. Usually though, it's better to just respect it and continue with your edge pressure if you don't have a disjoint. To sum it all up, the general flowchart: first, put pressure Cloud to the ledge. Second, knock him off stage far enough to where he can't simply come back for free. Third, cover the insta ledge snap option. Fourth, float in front of him as he recovers to force a 50-50 situation on his recovery in an attempt to snipe his second jump. And finally, gimp his up B.
興味ないね。
Eventually you're gonna get hit, and when you do, it's important to know how to minimize the damage you take. Cloud can chain a ton of up airs together, and if you air dodge near a platform, you can simply get chained into more damage. Falling up air is probably the worst aerial you can possibly get hit by, as it opens up a position to get hit by pretty much anything else. If you do get hit by up air, make sure to DI away from platforms so he simply can't land on them and extend the combo stream. Up air true combos into itself at low to mid percent, so don't bother trying to air dodge out of the combo stream. Just take your damage so you don't end up air dodging into something worse. For Nair and Bear, the best thing you can do is to DI down and away to get the furthest distance away from Cloud. By DIing in, he can true combo Nair into limit cross slash and a ton of other things, so it's usually not the best idea. For his down throw, make sure to DI away. For most characters, he doesn't usually have true throw follow-ups, so DIing away will make it so you can simply get away from Cloud, whether that be from jumping or just walking away after you hit the ground. Another common disadvantageous position against Cloud is to be on the ledge when he has limit. With limit, Cloud can effectively cover every ledge option, but there are still things available for the person at the ledge. For starters, for most characters, only the last hit of the limit cross slash will hit them when they're hanging at the ledge, meaning that unless you let it happen, he doesn't really have a strong move to punish you for simply hanging there. Moreover, delaying your choice often makes it difficult for your opponent to react to whatever you choose. When deciding on what ledge option to choose, the main thing you want to consider is your own percent. If you're at a low percent, it is very unlikely your opponent will use limit in an effort not to waste it. Just the same, if you're at a kill percent, they are very likely to look for an opportunity to cover the option with the limit option because it'll take your stock. Patience and not being repetitive more than anything will be the most important thing to escaping the ledge from Limit Cloud.
隙がなかったな。
So for most players, a lot of the time, you know what you're getting hit by, you just don't know how to stop it. Cloud can feel outright oppressive, but there are a few things, however, that are important that every player should know how to deal with Cloud specifically. Firstly, you can spot dodge Cloud's limit side B after shielding the first 3 hits. This is important because the threat of getting shield broken by it will be gone and you won't play as afraid when you have limit. You can also use characters' moves with invincibility on it like Ryu's Shoryuken and Luca's up smash if you're fast enough. The second thing you want to note is how to deal with Cloud down air. It's a very large, very long lasting hitbox and it is easy to simply just jump into it. If you want to punish it while Cloud is still airborne, your best bet is to come at it from the side. You can also pivot grab the landing since Cloud can't jump or use another move until he hits the ground. Characters with invincible attacks or disjoints can also just flat out right beat it. Lastly, Cloud's down smash can be teched. If you anticipate it, by DIing the first hit down, you can tech the ground before the second hit even connects. If you are pushed off stage by the first hit, DIing up and away will make it so the second hit won't connect as well. So that about wraps it up. Cloud is super common in today's meta and he is not going anywhere, meaning it's absolutely imperative to know how to deal with him. In the description, I'll link eSim and Beefy Smash Dude's video that further detail Edgeguarding Cloud as supplemental information, but remember, never stop learning. For other character Cram Schools or just more Smash content in general, you can check out the rest of my channel, and if you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to stay up to date with my Smash career as well, you can follow me on Twitter. Again, thanks for watching, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.